And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Cadet First Class Club. Yet another edition of This Week in Army Football as we get set for the home opener coming up on Saturday. Army taking on UTSA. We're here with you for the next hour to talk Army football. Take your questions. We'll be joined by a special guest. It's going to be a lot of fun. First off, though, how about This Week in Army Football? Welcome to the star of our show, season number 9, as the head coach of the Black Knights. Welcome back, Chef Monken. Chef, welcome back to This Week in Army Football.
Glad to be here.
Okay, so opening week on the road, Coastal Carolina on the teal turf. Your team came up short, though. Your post-game interview and your theme all week, you were very proud of the effort and the performance of your team in that opener.
The effort, for sure. The effort and the toughness. I thought our guys played really, really hard. The performance at times wasn't where we needed to be, and that's why we lost the football game. We've got to block and sustain blocks better. We've got to tackle much better than we did. So there's a lot of things we can do better and improve on. And we played a great football team, very talented, very well coached. That quarterback they got is something special, and we were right there in the game. And we had a chance there when we cut it to 31-28. We just couldn't keep them out of the end zone on the next drive, and give credit to them. They beat us, but I thought our guys played really hard, and we're excited to go back out and play again this week.
4 touchdowns on the road at Coastal Carolina. 3 came via the big play. 70-yard touchdown run by Tyrell Robinson, 70-plus yard touchdown pass, 50-plus yard touchdown pass. Cade Ballard and Tyre Tyler going deep to both Ijon Marshall and Brahim Murphy. First of all, what are your impressions, your reaction to scoring touchdowns on those big plays?
It's good to get big plays, and big plays are often the team that wins has more big plays than the other team, and that's not just big offensive plays. That's big plays in the special teams, big plays on defense, and they made more big plays than we did. But those 3 were huge. And what was typically we win the clock. You go to the end of the game and you look at the stats, and time of possession, we'll have it for 40 minutes. The other team will have it for 20, or we'll have it for 35, and now for 25. And it's just that ball control and controlling the clock that keeps our defense off the field. But the big plays got us in the end zone so quickly we weren't able to control the clock on those drives. And so it was really skewed. They had the ball for 35 minutes, and we had it for 25. So the big plays were great. I wish on some of those other drives where we had to punt, we were able to ball control and keep control of the clock and not have 3 and outs or 4 and outs. And so we got to do a better job of that.
You know, we often hear when we talk to you or offensive coordinator Brent Davis, especially with the triple option, hey, we're going to take what the defense gives us. Are those big plays what you were being given, or was that just execution based on a play that, hey, you were going to run and maybe it was going to get you 10 or 15 yards, had to be a different receiver?
We're trying all the time to get the defense into a defense that we want them in, whether that's by personnel, formation, movements, whatever it is. And we'd like to know where they are and what their option responsibilities are. That helps us, too, in terms of executing, for guys to block and us be able to run the ball. But also the success in the run game and our ability to be able to run the ball effectively creates some plays at times, because they are, on defense, so in tune to the run game and stopping the run that it opens up opportunities in the passing game. And so that's what happened on the 2 big pass plays. The run by T-Rob was just a really well-blocked play, and just an inside trap, and he's got a motor, and he was able to hit the seam and outrun everybody. So it was a big play.
It was funny, we talked about that inside trap is one of the plays and one of the reactions to the continual limitations on blocking below the waist, right? More of those kind of plays, hit it for a touchdown.
Yeah, and we weren't sure how the blocking below the waist rule was going to affect us until we got into a game. We can see that there's certainly some difference. There's some change there that we're going to continually have to work with and get better at. But I thought our guys really, really played hard and tried to block physical. We just couldn't keep them blocked all the time. And give credit to Coastal Carolina. They got a good team.
2 positions I wanted to quickly touch on. Quarterback, Tyre Tyler, Cade Ballard. What was your impression of the timeshare between them and the rhythm you were establishing between the two quarterbacks?
We didn't play Cade as much as we wanted to play him, and it's just kind of the way things went. We had 47 plays on offense, and I think that it broke out where Cade had 9 of those plays. And that's not enough. We really wanted him to get more. We'd like for it to be we were hoping it'd be more around 50-50. We'll see what happens this week. Our intention is to share the reps, and they're both good players, both good quarterbacks, different, but bring value when they're in the game and leadership, and so we'll see what happens Saturday with that.
The other position, fullback, Tyson Riley got the start. We saw a bit of Jacoby Buchanan. He scored a touchdown on the ground. What was your impression of that position and how you divided up the snaps?
Well, having those big brute fullbacks, the two veterans, Riley and Buchanan, we'd love for them to get the bulk of the plays and the bulk of the carries. They got experience. They're both very talented runners, and so we were able to get the ball in their hands, and which was great. And I'm excited to see the rest of the guys in that room and how they develop and how we can build some depth. We've kind of become accustomed to having a good handful of guys there, and I think with Hayden Reed, who's just a freshman, he's showing some real promise. Markel Johnson is getting healthy. He's going to play this Saturday. I don't know how much, but Jarrell Dixon, Bo Kite, there's some guys in there that are going to be able to play and give those older guys, those two guys at the top of the depth chart some rest when they need it to keep them fresh. I think we're a better team when we can rotate those guys like that.
UTSA, the opponent on Saturday, and Jeff, you go from one double-digit win team from 2021 to yet another. UTSA was the talk of college football, started 10-0 on the season. What are your impressions of the Roadrunners, a program you saw in both 2019 and 2020 in San Antonio, their first trip up here to West Point?
They are explosive, talented, big, fast, well coached. It's just an incredibly impressive football team. So Houston they've gotten a lot of talk. They're a very talented team, and they've got that program in position now to be a top 25 team, getting ready to go to a Power 5 conference. And they went toe-to-toe with those guys and could have won the game, had opportunities to win the game. I know their coach, Coach Traylor, who's an outstanding coach, is disappointed they didn't win the game, but it certainly would have been a huge win for them. But even with losing the football game, they went toe-to-toe with Houston, and I mean, we're every bit as good and every bit as talented, so it's going to be a tremendous challenge for us on Saturday.
We're here on This Week in Army Football until 8 o'clock, taking your questions about the Black Knights. Special guest coming up a little bit later on. It's Army and UTSA coming up at noon on Saturday at Michie Stadium. So we have on the wireless microphone tonight, not a stranger to This Week in Army Football, stepping in, Caitlin Morris. Welcome.
Hey, Coach and Rich. Excited to be here tonight ahead of our home opener. For anyone here in the Varsity Club, if you have any questions, come hunt me down. And everyone watching on Facebook, please leave any questions you have in the comments.
So Facebook Live, YouTube, as well as the Army Sports Network, the Varsity Network app. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun tonight.
It's always fun with you, Rich.
Always fun with you, Coach Monken. I think we're going to go questions next segment as we wait for our special guest to get here. So I'll have questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken when we come back on This Week in Army Football here live from the Cadet First Class Club at West Point. We'll be back in just a moment right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
Today, I'm a captain on the Army West Point football team. Tomorrow, I strive to lead winning teams.
Today, I study to excel in the classroom. Tomorrow, I can reach for the stars.
Today, I am leading cadets during summer training. Tomorrow, I will be ready to lead soldiers on the battlefield.
Today, I lead with character as the brigade commander. Tomorrow, my possibilities are endless.
West Point, where leaders are made.
Our main focus as the mob this year is really just working to keep developing our fundamentals. We do that period 1 all the way until our competition periods with the defense, continuing to increase depth as well across our entire offensive line. It takes reps, watching it on film and then going out and working on something little. And you can't be a good offensive lineman in a day, so it takes that time. We pride ourselves on being very versatile on the offensive line and, being able to mix and match different combinations, and just having that kind of gives us a little bit of an edge. I'm as comfortable with the tackles working with them as the guards are, and we have that rhythm and that chemistry on offense. Pretty much every opportunity we have the chance, we hang out with each other and we joke around, and we want to see each other succeed, and that's why we compete so hard against each other as well.
Safety room's been working on a lot this fall. Specifically, we've been working on pulling up the young guys, because the stronger our room is as a whole, the better our team will be, because we have this next up mentality. You never know what's going to happen, so really just pouring into the young guys and making sure that we all know what we're supposed to do and we're able to command our defense. We do a lot together. I think that's what makes our group the group that it is. During the summer, we would meet just with the safeties, just no coaches, just safeties. We would pick out different film to watch and things to do. That's what makes us different. Coach Sloan's a great coach. He was defensive coordinator before he got here. Just able to pick his brain. One time I sat in a meeting with Coach Woody and him, and I just sat there and listened. And just to see them go back and forth and talk scheme, that was amazing.
And welcome back to This Week in Army Football. Army Football brought to you by West Point Family and MWR. FMWR offers horse sporting, golfing, skiing, catering, camping, and many more activities and programs. Visit westpoint.armymwr.com for more information. Before we get to our questions for Jeff Monken here on This Week in Army Football, I'll tell you that trip to South Carolina wasn't all bad. I mean, you talked about the effort out there, but a great weekend for the Monken family.
Well, there was one bright spot. I got to see my daughter Isabel, my beloved firstborn. She's at the University of South Carolina. She drove from Columbia on Friday to meet us when we got to the hotel and spent the night with us. Got to eat dinner and breakfast with her, and that was a thrill. I was so glad to see her. She obviously left for college back in August. My wife Beth and the girls, Amelia and Evie, took her down there and got her moved into her dorm. And so we had preseason camp going on, and I had to forego the opportunity as dad to go check her into college. So that was a real treat for me, and I'm so proud of her. She's just doing so well and enjoying the experience. She went to the South Carolina-Georgia State game on Saturday night, and got her first experience with Sandstorm and,
no doubt,
and whipping the towel around. So she was fired up, and I'm happy she's there and proud of her.
And we got to know Isabel better last year, and had to be special having her intern in the football office last year in her gap year between high school and then South Carolina.
It was, and she did a great job, and it was a great experience for her. She's majored in sports management down there at South Carolina, so it was a really good experience. But just having the opportunity to be around her every day and see her every day and work with her and travel with her, that's really special. That's something I'm going to remember for a lifetime. So she's doing great down there, so I was glad to see her.
Well, it's funny, we're talking about your 9th year at West Point, and I remember, what was it, the West Point Middle School volleyball updates we used to do, and it seems like it was yesterday, and now she's off at college, as you said, majoring in sports management.
Yep, she's all grown up.
No doubt about that. So, questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken. You can drop them into the comments section on Facebook Live. We're with you there, as well as YouTube, the Army Sports Network, the Varsity Network app. And also, if you are here at the Cadet First Class Club, we have Caitlin Morris on the wireless microphone, doing a terrific job so far, and it wouldn't be this week in Army football. You know, after a couple of years where it wasn't quite the same, we're back like it used to be, 2 straight weeks.
Yep.
And you know who's got the first question.
Jerry's got it. Jerry for Fishkill. Good to see you, Jerry.
And we're going to work on the microphone here for a moment. I think it was sticking just a bit. They might have to go. Well, so while they're working on the microphone, okay, so home opener, UTSA, your feelings. There's a great video they played at the luncheon today about Michie Stadium. Players talking about what it means to play in front of the core, in front of the home fans on that hallowed ground turf. How about for you as the head coach?
I think the opportunity for all of us to go out there as competitors is really special. You think of the teams that played there, the players that have been on those teams, the coaches that have coached in that stadium, the history and how it was built, how that stadium came to be. But I think mostly for our players is just the opportunity to play in front of their classmates. It's a great sense of pride for our team to go out there and represent the Corps of Cadets. And it is for me too. And not being a graduate, but being here 9 years, I feel like I'm part of this institution, and it makes me very proud to go out there and represent West Point with a team that's tough and resilient and executes and plays a physical brand of football. That's what this academy is, and that's what this Army that we represent is. So it's awesome to be able to go out there on Saturday, and we've really been looking forward to getting back home.
Nothing like a football Saturday at West Point. First of 6 home games this season on Saturday. Army against UTSA. Tickets on sale, 877-TIX-ARMY, online at GoArmyWestPoint.com. Now the microphone works. Now it's time to really get this show started. And our first question, Jerry from Fishkill. Jerry, welcome.
Coach, how many scholarships do you get a year?
You know, that's an interesting question there,
Great
Jerry.
question.
Yes, so a typical FBS school gets 85 scholarships. The uniqueness of West Point and the academies, every student here is on scholarship. Everybody here is on the same scholarship. So there aren't any athletic scholarships here at West Point. Each of our young men come like their classmates on an appointment. They apply, they're accepted to school, they accept the appointment, and they come to West Point. So every one of our guys is on scholarship. So that us and the other academies are the only teams like that where everybody's on scholarship. Good, that's a good question, Jerry.
Thank you for the question, Jerry. And you know, it's so multifaceted, and we talked about it on last week's show with NIL, with scholarships, with limits, with transfer portal. You feel that a little bit, and it's rarely a positive here in terms of being able to get players on transfer or those kinds of things. How are you doing? How is West Point doing Army football with all that storm kind of happening around what's not an impenetrable bubble, but still immune to a lot of that?
I think just relatively unaffected, which is another reason why I just love our players so much. there's opportunities in the transfer portal. In the transfer portal, you go to another school and you can try to get a name, image, and likeness contract from somebody. And the reality is that's happening for some of the elite players. That's happening at some of the elite programs for groups of guys. But everybody on those teams isn't making $1 million a year now. And so I think our guys see that their opportunity with a degree from West Point, with the experience that they'll have in the Army, being able to serve and lead, and what that will do for them for their future, that is their NIL. That's the opportunity for them to gain something from their experience in college that's really going to pay off for them in their future. And I don't think there's any place in America that does that better than West Point.
And it's interesting you say that, because really it's that short-term benefit of NIL to then the long-term success. Now, whether it's career in the military, right, where, you know, from promotions to honor, all those kinds of things, to serving, you know, not a full career and going out into the private world. There's so many things you can do with that degree. I think you said it perfectly.
No question about it. And it's why our players came here. It's why the students that are here came here, is for this degree and for this experience and the opportunity to serve and to be a part of something really special.
Next question for Jeff Monken.
Coach, Dave Forrester, who's with us tonight at the Firsty Club, wants to know, what are we wearing for the first home game of the season?
Oh, have we revealed that?
I saw Matt Faulkner here. He's somewhere around, our social media guru.
I don't know if I'm at liberty to say.
He's usually at the controls for revealing it. So
they put it out on social media. I'm not sure that they've done it yet.
They'll have to watch social. If Matt's here and wants to check in with us, he can give us a more real-time update as to.
Okay, so we got to put that one on pause.
We will. We'll try to get that answer before the end of the show. Well, as much as we can find out before the end of the show.
Some version of black, gray, and gold. I can be assured of that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I love the look from last week. Love white uniforms in football, and I love the gold helmets and the gold pants.
That's the traditional
look.
road uniform.
That's my favorite look.
Great uniform.
My favorite look.
Yep.
Next question for Coach.
Kieran Stack wants to know, who are the captains this season?
Okay, so we've had a chance to talk about these guys a lot, and I'm glad. They're two great captains. Marquel Broughton, who starts at safety, was a captain last year as a junior, which is rare. It's rare in college football, but certainly rare at West Point. He's one of the most dynamic leaders I've ever been around. And then Connor Bishop, who's our starting center, and really has taken a leadership role even before this season on offense. But he is the clear leader on that side of the ball, and they picked two great captains, and they're doing a great job leading our team.
Jeff, about your captains and, you know, spending time at practice, you know, witnessing them, seeing them, talking with your chief of staff, Clayton Kendrick Holmes, and you know, what I really hear is leading from the front, that they're doing things that is true servant leadership. And again, I'm sure you see that from your captains all the time. It just seems like it hits a little different with these two.
It does. The pride that they take in their responsibilities as leaders in our program, but it goes beyond just our football program. They're leaders in the Corps, and Marquel has a position in his regiment, and he takes that very seriously. And during preseason camp, he's practicing. He's going to meetings. He's eating dinner as fast as he can because he's putting things together to be able to take down to his regiment, responsibilities that he has in that leadership position. He's just stretched to the gills, but he embraces it, and it is just a great opportunity for us to be represented in a high-level leadership position within the Corps.
It's Army and UTSA coming up on Saturday at Michie Stadium. Noon kick time, airtime across the Army Sports Network at 10 a.m. on the Army Football Tailgate Show, broadcasting live outside Gate 1 along Black Knights Alley. We're going to have our special guest coming up next segment. And Jeff, you know him well from when he was Commandant, 61st Superintendent of the United States Military Academy. That's Lieutenant General Steve Gilland, and I know someone you've known well, and it's been great having him back as Soup.
Well, he's my fellow Prairie State native, so two guys from Illinois, and he's just doing a great job leading this academy and supporting our team. He's been up to practice several times, in the locker room with us on Saturday on the sideline. just been a tremendous support. So really excited to have him back.
Lieutenant General Steve Gilland, our special guest on This Week in Army Football, when we come back at the Cadet First Class Club here at West Point across the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
Execution work, you know, at corner, it's all about the little things, and the smallest detail gone wrong can get you beat. You're on a play-by-play basis, so you have to maintain that confidence throughout the entire game. So you let yourself get down, you can get beat the next play. So always having that confidence, and that's just something you build with experience. Definitely being a corner here, you get the best of both worlds. I mean, at practice, you're facing our offense, so it's definitely really physical. They also can pass the ball, so I feel like having that differentiation of pass and run on a daily basis makes it really helpful for the position. We have Bo, Isaiah, Dalen, Cam Jones. You know, we all have good experience on the field, and all of us can go on the field at any time to make those plays. So I just feel like having that feeling in the room and everybody's confident is a real game changer at corner.
I think there's always a pride pretty much in all of football and being the inside linebackers. It's a tough position. You have to know a lot. You have to be very smart, but also make big hits, especially here at West Point, and just being a tough group of linebackers and get the job done. We got Coastal first game, and so just kind of getting down a lot of the run reads, correct footwork, just stuff that makes you like a good linebacker down the road, not just for this game. I think we got a lot of depth this year. We got a lot of guys who can play in the game. In terms of just kind of like filling that void that Eric left, just building confidence and trying to be the best that we can be. I know Coach Woody does a really good job of making it where he can scheme the defense where everybody can play a role, and as long as you do your job to the best of your ability, our defense will succeed. I was always the guy asking questions, looking for advice from the older guys. It's nice helping the other guys with their assignments, but it helps me solidify those assignments in my mind while I'm constantly helping other guys with theirs too.
You know, I think it all starts in practice. To get ready for the season, you have to practice really well and watch a lot of film and really prepare because, you know, that's what the other team's doing.
Coach Worley always talks about being elite at the little things, so whether it's the type of footwork you take, whether it's accuracy, whether it's making the right read, finding one thing that we worked on at practice and didn't look so good on, and try to correct that each day.
Playing quarterback at Army is very unique. You know, it's physically demanding, mentally demanding.
It's just a legacy. It's bigger than us. You know, we're representing so many soldiers, representing the line of great quarterbacks that played before us, like Ahmad Bradshaw, Kelvin Hopkins, Jabari Laws, Christian Anderson, Trent Stillman, AJ Sher, just a lot of guys that came before us that set really good legacy, and it's an honor to be a part of it.
You know, we've been together for 4 years now, all of us. TT's been here an extra year, and you know, I think, you know, just that camaraderie and very comfortable with each other. We know what each other can do.
This summer we really gelled as a team on and off the field, and I think that building that camaraderie helped on the field. But our player-led practices, our workouts and things like that, I feel like really helped us in transition to fall camp and our practices now.
Back to the Cadet First Class Club This Week in Army Football, and a great cheer on the way back from the break. Army opening up its home slate on Saturday against UTSA. Noon kick time at Mikey Stadium. 10 a.m. airtime across the Army Sports Network. The Army Football Tailgate Show along Black Knights Alley, Gate 1 from 10 until 11:30. And now set for his first home game as the newly minted superintendent. Was at his first Spirit lunch today And we'd like to welcome as our special guest the 61st Superintendent here at the United States Military Academy, class of 1990, Lieutenant General Steve Gilland. General, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Rich, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. I tell you what, I've been waiting all week for this opportunity to come down here to just hang out with you and Coach Monken. Love it.
I agree. When I saw you at that practice just about a month ago, hey, you were all in. You were all ready for football season.
I'm all in all the time. 365 days a year, 24/7. That's what we got here.
Yep.
And I think that's what we've got to be able to do, is we talk about what our young men and women do every single day.
And Jeff, you've been here through some different superintendents, and the energy and the intensity of General Gilland, that has to resonate with you.
Well, I'm just glad to have him back. He really, we had a great relationship, worked together so well when he was here as the commandant. I mean, we communicated on things that were going on campus, on the military side, and how our program could better represent the Corps, and it just really appreciated the working relationship we had. So I was really excited when they said General Gilland was coming back here as the superintendent. I kind of gave a fist pump, and so glad to have him back here.
Well, Coach, I gave 2 fist pumps. All right? Because here's the thing, because I also, having the opportunity, knowing I was going to get the opportunity to come back, and as Coach Monken has said, I mean, we had a tremendous relationship, really just 3 to 5 years ago when we were here, and I knew that I could pick it up when we came back. And as I mentioned today, the culture that is instilled in our football team and the program across the board, led by Coach Monken, which I think is truly is one of a kind opportunity that exists here at the Military Academy.
So, General, you talked about your time as a commandant 3 to 5 years ago. How did that help prepare you to become superintendent? Obviously, commandant, big part of what happens at West Point, and now really in charge, responsible for the entire enterprise.
Well, Rich, I'd like to say that it prepared me. I had no idea at that time, and quite honestly, up until just a few months ago, I had no idea that I was going to be coming back here. But what I would say is that, one, I mean, you've got some fairly recent experience with the academy and everything that's going on here across our different programs. But I would also offer up, though, despite the fact that we left a mere 3 years ago, is that a lot of things have changed. And as the commandant, there were a lot of things that I looked at that General Caslen and General Williams, specifically as a superintendent, I said, well, that's for them to be concerned about, not for me to be concerned about. Well, guess what? As of 27 June, it's now those are the things I need to be concerned about. And I take that very seriously, and I realize that. And so it's about perspective. As it is in any profession. I mean, regardless of it's military, it's in coaching, it's in radio. And I just think that what it did was it gave me an opportunity to come in come in feet first. I'm oriented a little bit, probably a little bit more than anybody else would have been, just by virtue of tenure, and it allowed my starting point to be a little bit farther advanced.
And Jeff, and obviously having a relationship with General Gilland, and a different relationship now with him as a superintendent, how good was it to see a familiar face come back here?
It was great, and I think the thing that I've appreciated is we still have the same relationship. It hasn't changed, and when General Gilland arrived, that same line of communication, that same opportunity to be able to approach him and talk with him about our academy, our program, and how we can best represent is still there. And I know what he's going through, though. I was a head coach at a school where I had been an assistant, Georgia Southern. But that fire hose you drink out of when you're the head coach or you're the superintendent, the pressure is turned up a lot higher, and it doesn't turn down. It is a different responsibility, and so I somewhat know what General Gilland's going through, and the first year is always the hardest, but he's handling it so well. You wouldn't know that he's in his first year here, but I think that comes with having had the experience of being here as the commandant. There is a learning curve, and there is a learning curve with West Point, and so glad to have a guy with some experience back here with us.
General Gillen, your first coach's show tonight, your first Spirit Luncheon was today. Your impressions out at the first Spirit Luncheon as superintendent today.
I'm
You're
motivated.
motivated after today.
And like I said today, hey, if you're coming to the Spirit Lunch or you're coming down here, your spirit tank, your energy tank, your hype tank, whatever your tank is, it better be full. That's all I can say.
Amen.
And it better be full on Saturday, regardless of what time the game time is. It better be full, and it better be ready to go the entire from kickoff to when the last second ticks off on the clock.
So have you thought about what your game day schedule is going to be when you get out to the stadium?
Absolutely not. It's too busy. I'm just happy to be there. No. We have thought. The one thing I do know is that as we look at pregame and such, Coach Monken and his coaching team, they've got a firm grasp of that. They don't need Gilland in there trying to make sure that I'm helping snap the ball or cover two or anything like that. So I recognize that. What I do know is that we've got an incredible fan base, though, that when you think about over the past few years, I mean, the fan base is ready to pack Nike Stadium. And I hope that we have an incredible turnout on Saturday. And I want to be able to get around and thank our fan base because, we have people that come to the Army football that the only thing they come to West Point for is to see Army football.
Yep.
And it started decades ago when many of them were young children and their parents brought them here. And I think that's something special that people don't recognize that we have here at the Military Academy.
How excited is your family? Of course, your wife Betsy being back here at West Point. I'm sure it must be just a life goal to be back in a place
Absolutely.
like this.
Well, both of us, we pinch ourselves every day to make sure that this really is a reality. The other thing is that she's got her lucky football jerseys lined up in the closet for each of the games as we talk about sponsorship. And since the 101st is the unit this week, we've got our 101st jersey. She's got it already laid out. It's ready to go so that when it comes game time on Saturday, we are ready. It's a family effort. That's the other thing.
And Jeff, it's a family effort for you as well.
It is every Saturday. My wife and my girls, and when my folks come, and we've got an investment, and everybody that loves this academy and feels invested in this place, they're going to have that same feeling. They're going to be all in on Saturday, and hopefully everybody in that stadium is going to be there, as General Gillen says, and be all in with the tank full and ready to go.
Well, General Gillen, we appreciate your time. It's awesome that you came by to come on.
This is great. I appreciate just having the opportunity. I show up every day because I get the opportunity to hang out with awesome people. And
we get to hang out with you.
And you look across, with the Military Academy and all of West Point, and regardless of what you're doing, the team is incredible. And I think that's what motivates me and inspires, quite honestly. I mean, we all gain inspiration from these young people. All right. We also get inspiration from the awesome teammates that make all the things happen here on a daily basis. So we owe it to them, though, to come with some positive energy, some positive vibes, and make sure that we're doing some inspiring also.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show tonight, General Gillen, and we look forward to seeing you here around the First D Club on future weeks.
Sign me up. I'm ready to go.
Lieutenant General Steve Gillen, 61st Superintendent of the United States Military Academy, joining us on tonight's show. Thank you, General Gillen.
I appreciate it.
When we come back, more questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken this week at Army football from the Cadet First Class Club. Back in a moment right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
The D-line, all we're really trying to do is just cause as much chaos in the backfield as possible, whether that's run or pass, just being violent in everything that we do, and just coming together, rushing. The biggest thing with losing Nolan is the next person that fills that role, they just have to do their 111th, do their job in the scheme of the defense. I feel like that will put us in the best position possible. win. The biggest thing I do is just I just help the younger guys to understand the importance of, getting mental reps. Throughout the day, there's only a limited amount of reps for each practice that everyone can get. So just, when you're in the back and you're watching, just envision yourself taking that rep and working on the footwork, the hands, the technique like that. Since the spring till now, I feel like the D-line, me and Coach Cronin, we gelled, and we're finally getting to that point where now we're
Till I can't fight no more! Till I can't fight no more! And when I can't fight no more! And when I can't fight no more! I'm gonna lie down! I'm gonna lie down! Bleed a while! Bleed a while! Army! Army! I will fight! I will fight! Get up! I will get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Fight some more! Fight some more!
He's gonna go the distance. Tyrell Robinson, the cannon fires. And it's intercepted by Army.
Last of the heart. You feel it?
Touchdown. Army continues the onslaught. Army bringing pressure. Oh, yet another saddle pass broken up. Army wins. The Black Knights defeat Air Force in overtime. The kick is good. Army wins the 2021 Armed Forces Bowl on the final play of the game. Tyrell Robinson off to the races, inside the 30-yard line, to the 20, to the 10, pulled down at the goal line, but he's in for the touchdown. Throw loading up deep, wide open, Ajon Marshall at the 30, and he sprints in all by himself for the touchdown. And welcome back to This Week at Army Football. Broadway's back at Eisenhower Hall Theater, the Hudson Valley's premier performing arts center. Enjoy your favorite Broadway plays and musicals in the comfort and convenience of America's theater. Eisenhower Hall, a delicious meal at Riverside Cafe prior to each show makes for a perfect evening. So don't miss out. Tickets go on sale soon. Group and individual sales available. For updated season info and ticket sales, visit iCall.com. That is iCall.com. Very special spending some time with General Steve Gillen.
Absolutely. And you can just tell, you feel the energy when he's talking and just how passionate he is about West Point. And it was fantastic to have him here on the show with us.
I got word during the break that during the last segment, Matt Faulkner was located. And
okay.
The reveal for the uniform for Saturday will be tomorrow.
Okay,
on social
there we
media.
go.
So
Thanks, Matt.
Can't tell you what it is, but Matt Faulkner was located, and it is tomorrow on social media. Thank you, Matt.
That's high security clearance right there.
No, it's good. Hey, you know the person you got to go to,
Yep.
and then you just get the answer. That's just the best way to do it. Time now for more questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken.
Coach, I have a question. Are there students or cadets that came to West Point and weren't recruited but tried out for the team, football team, and made the team?
There are, and that's a good question. We've got a handful of guys on our team who were not recruited, either went to the prep school or came in direct, and we have a walk-on tryout every semester. So the first week of classes this year, we had a tryout. We had several guys that came, and we'll do the same thing in the spring. And so over the course of my time here, we've had guys every year that have been on the team that weren't recruited, and they are really special guys because that's hard to do. And so I really appreciate those guys that can do that and make the team like that.
Thank you for the question. When I think back to folks who tried out, I always think back to Doug Black in the 1980s, right?
Now they talk about him. He
was
a
running
legend.
people over in intramural football.
Yep.
And they were going to the triple option. They found him, and 1,000 yards later, there he is.
I wish they still had company level football. We could probably do a lot of recruiting down there.
That's a good point. Very, very good point. A lot of comments, questions on Facebook Live. And Jeff, we talked about it before the interview with General Gill, and then as he was coming off stage, that Illinois connection, that's very, very special between the two of you.
It is. And I'm very proud to be from Illinois, and my family still lives there. My parents, their parents, we're all from Illinois, and the Prairie State's my home state, and so to have a leader like General Gillen here, and I guess we're kind of kindred spirits from that standpoint for sure.
Next question for Coach Monken.
So Steve Drawback wants to know, will you be playing 5 DBs against UTSA to stop the pass?
At times we'll be in 5 DBs, sometimes 6, sometimes just 4, and it really just depends on the situation during the game, and that's not uncommon. There are times that we might play an entire game with one of the outside linebackers out of the game and play with an extra DB, but Jimmy Charlo is really a hybrid type guy in anyway, and plays our nickel position, and he's a former safety, so having Jimmy in there, he's a physical guy, a linebacker type guy, but he still can play like a DB. So there'll be times where we'll change personnel, but we'll see what the game dictates.
And we talked about Jeff Traylor, and just listening to him, the sincerity and how he comes off. I mean, he's just a great coach for that program and getting them to where they are. It's amazing to me how many of these players you've seen and played against in 2019 and 2020. It seems like the clock just stopped and they're still there.
Well, I think there's maybe 5 starters on defense that played in the game against us in 2020. So, I mean, there's been great retention there. Obviously, their quarterback, what a terrific player he is. He's in his 6th year.
Frank Harris, he's terrific.
Tremendous. And but I think it's the culture that he's created, the trust that they have in him. He's a Texas high school coach and has made his way into the college ranks and just really doing an incredible job. And the success they've had there the last couple years speaks for itself, and it's why they put him on a long-term contract, and they want to keep him around there for a long time. They're smart. They should. He loves that city. You can tell by the way he talks about it and the pride he has in UTSA and getting Texas kids in there, and they're just doing a great job. So I just hope they don't do a great job on Saturday.
You have a soft spot for high school coaches.
I do. Well, my dad was my high school coach. I grew up around high school coaches and really probably thought that's what I was going to be. And I'm very fortunate to be here at West Point, but some of the best coaches we have in this game are the high school coaches that develop our young players.
And same here, Jeff Traylor is what he's doing there. Hey, luck in every game except on Saturday. They're a great team to watch in a program that's come really far in a short period of time. When we come back, one more round of questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken here on This Week in Army Football. It's Army and UTSA coming up on Saturday afternoon at Michie Stadium. Back in just a moment right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. It's the 2022 opener for the Army football team. Black Knights at Coastal Carolina. Army off back-to-back 9-win seasons.
coming into the stadium and playing a game is a special feeling.
A beautiful day for football. Sold-out crowd should be a lot of fun. This is going to be packed wall to wall, aisle to aisle.
It's really a great honor to be able to play here and to be able to play in the same stadiums. You know, 3 Heisman Trophy winners, teams that were national champions.
I've never seen, a helicopter fly over the entire Corps of Cadets, a packed out Mikey Stadium, something that it's different than any other college I've ever been to.
It's just all the history behind it. I mean, before games, you have the helicopters flying past. I mean, you have the Corps that sits right over there.
To see them sacrifice for us and actually sit through and bring energy and bring the spirit that they do, I think that makes it a lot different.
It's something that, you want to make them proud and you want to represent them well. So to have them there supporting you every step of the way is definitely a great feeling.
An improbable game-time drive at the end of regulation, and then the win in overtime.
I don't think there's a lot of schools where when you walk into the stadium and you're getting ready to, you have old grads from class of 89 and 94.
Having everybody come back and watch the Army football games, it's a great atmosphere in the stadium, and a lot of people really care about our success and how we do. This is it right here. This is the backyard of Army football.
Just being able to run out and touch that plaque, it's just a tradition and it's an honor. A lot of great people have played in the stadium.
The legacy of people who played here, it's just real special to be a part of putting on the colors.
As cool as they come under pressure, Lindell back to throw the bomb. Steele grabs it from one defender. A 62-yard pass play. Army dramatically rallies to beat California.
Army has won the Commander-in-Chief's trophy for the 3rd time in 4 years, coming back in the 4th quarter to defeat Air Force. Welcome back one more time to This Week in Army Football, the Cadet First Class Club, as we get set for Army and UTSA coming up on Saturday afternoon. Army West Point Athletics would like to thank its restaurant and tavern partners, Brothers Barbecue and O'Toole's Pub. Check out the restaurant and tavern partners portion of GoArmyWestPoint.com for more information. Support those who support the Corps. One more round of questions, though, before we get to it. Jeff, we talked a lot about UTSA, a lot about Mikey Stadium. And we've talked about even this show. Obviously, 2020 was like something, no one had experienced. Obviously, no fans at games, limited fans, just cadets and midshipmen at Army Navy. And last year, getting back, this just feels like we're back. There's just a great feeling.
It's good to be back. It's good to have it back to normal and college football and crowds, and I'm fired up for this season. So I'm looking forward to Saturday.
One more round of questions. If you're watching on Facebook Live, drop them into the comments section. We're also on YouTube Live, as well as the Army Sports Network and the Varsity Network app. Caitlin, our next question for Coach.
Thank you. Coach, when you're preparing throughout the week for an opponent, would you be able to estimate roughly what percentage of time is specifically focused on that opponent as compared to just getting better in general as a team?
So the majority of the time is spent on the opponent that's coming up. But every day we'll do fundamental drills that they carry over no matter who we're playing. Blocking, tackling, ball security, blocking kicks, protecting kicks. There are things we do each day and throughout the week that they'll carry over all the way through December. But the majority of the practice is really looking at the schemes that we're expecting to see from this week UTSA and building a game plan and practicing that game plan against them. So that's a great question.
Thank you for the question. Specifically, and touched upon it in the opening segment, but you like the effort. I know there was execution you felt would have gone a little differently. What are the biggest things you got to improve on?
We got to block and sustain blocks, which we didn't do well enough on Saturday. If we had done that, we'd sustain drives and move the ball better than we did. We got to tackle better.
Yep.
we got to get off blocks, get to the ball carrier, and when we get there, we got to tackle. And we had over 20 missed tackles. So that's not a great start. We've got to improve. And obviously, we practice tackling. We work on it every day, but practice tackling a live body that's very talented and very fast and good in the open field is easier said than done. And so as we go through preseason camp, tackling live bodies puts us at risk of getting hurt. So we got to balance having a healthy team, having the most healthy team we can to go into Saturday with getting the work that we need to be able to be prepared to execute. So we're going to continue to improve on that, and hopefully our missed tackles will go down, and our execution of blocking people and keeping them blocking, getting off of blocks will improve as well.
Last question for Coach Monken.
Coach, Michael Beans wants to know which freshmen on the team are making enough progress to be able to get increased playing time.
There's a few guys that are factoring in, not so much on offense and defense, but Donovan Platt's a corner who played some on Saturday. Very talented guy, went to our prep school, going to play on special teams. We've got Hayden Reed, who's a running back. He's part of that B-back lineup we talked about. He's going to play some. Wow, there's just really not a whole lot of guys, which is good. I'm glad we've got a veteran team. There's just some guys sprinkled in. Eric Ford, who's an outside linebacker, didn't get to play much on Saturday, but very talented player. Kamari Copeland, who's a defensive lineman. Jacob Tuioti. Those are all freshmen who traveled with us, and I anticipate as the season goes along, they'll probably make more of a contribution on the field.
Caitlin, thank you for the question. Great job tonight, Caitlin.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Jeff, Army, and UTSA, going to be a lot of fun coming up on Saturday.
Looking forward to it. Can't wait to be out there in Mikey Stadium.
He's Jeff Monken. I'm Rich Demarco. Army and UTSA coming up on Saturday, noon kick time at Mikey Stadium. This broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Army West Point Sports Properties, a property of Learfield, under the broadcasting rights granted by the United States Military Academy at West Point. This broadcast is copyrighted, and any rebroadcast or reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of the Academy and Army West Point Sports Properties. The general manager of Army West Point Sports Properties is Steve Tucker. I'd like to thank Peter, Jimmy, and Skylar on site, Tony in the studio, Ryan Panny spearheading our video coverage here tonight. We'd like to thank our special guest, Lieutenant General Steve Gillen, Superintendent of West Point. For Caitlin Morris, Army Head Coach Jeff Monken, I'm Rich DeMarco. Thanks so much for listening and watching. Have a great rest of your Thursday night, everyone.